Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. This was my first time ever at Kirkland's and I fell in love. And I walked around the store just snapping pictures to inspire me to create some DIYs. So here we go, Kirkland Inspired DIYs. So this beautiful rustic Christmas ornament inspired DIY number 1. And I had one of these tin trays that I had used for a different project left over. I had about half a tray. So I started cutting it up. I utilized the bottom of the tray and the sides. And I used the sides because they were thicker than the bottom to secure this. And if you guys can do this better, go for it. I started with this one because this one gave me the most trouble. I wasn't quite sure how to get it together, as you will see coming up. But what I did with the bottom was I cut strips 7.5 inches long, 1.5 inches wide. And I just cut as many strips as I had tray. Looking back, I would have done this different. I wouldn't have made these so skinny. I should have referenced the picture a little bit more, but like I said, these are inspired DIYs. These aren't dupes. I wasn't trying to exactly recreate what I saw. I just used what I saw to inspire me to create my own version of it. So with the sides of the tray, I made circles because that's going to reinforce the base. And then for some reason, I thought I needed more of these than I did. And I came back in and I actually made them even smaller. And looking back, I wish I would have done less, but thicker. So you do this any way you want. I hot glued, where am I going with this? I hot glued them to that little circle. And then I used the other circle, I cut 2 of them, and I hot glued that circle to the top of it to secure them in between and hopefully make this more sturdy. And then I was lost. After I did this part, I'm thinking, how the heck am I going to get this to resemble an ornament and how am I going to attach it together? So I thought, well, I have one of the Dollar Tree plastic ornaments, so I thought I would use that as a reference. So I went and grabbed it, put it in the center, and I started pulling those pieces up just to get the shape of an ornament. Once I had that shape, I removed the Dollar Tree ornament and I folded over the ends. And here's where it gets wonky, and hopefully I can walk you through it. I'm sure y'all will have much better idea of how to do this. I don't know. This is how I did it. I had some jewelry wire, so I thought I would feed that in between where I folded the tops over. That way I could just pull on each end of the jewelry wire and it would bring it all together. And that kind of worked. I had to fold over a couple more pieces as I went, but for the most part that did work. Once I had it together where I wanted it, I just twisted the jewelry wire around each other to secure it close. I had this beautiful Christmas ribbon that I gotten from Big Lots last year and I was dying to use it. So I just made a tiny poofy bow and then I took the jewelry wire and I fed it through the top to create the handle. Once I had the handle on it, or the hanger, then I hot glued some white flowers to the top and I hot glued that bow I made to the top of the flowers, and voila, it might have been the best way to make this but it worked and I made it and I was really happy with how it turned out. There it is. I can't wait to get my tree out and hang this because it really is super cute. And that was the hardest one of the 5 to make. So we're going to go on to DIY number 2. I can't speak today, can I? So DIY inspiration number 2 was this bucket that I saw at Kirkland's. And I knew I could recreate this one because I had a Dollar Tree bucket at home. I had red paint and I had black paint. And that's basically all you need. You're going to take your bucket and you're going to give it a great, wonderful, fantastic, only one coat of red paint. And I actually painted all of the outside, the bottom, the inside, and the handle, and let that dry. So once that was fully dry, I picked which side I wanted and I grabbed my painter's tape and I just taped off each end. And then I took my black paint, I came in. I was actually very careful at first, and then I thought, why am I being careful? I'm going to use the paint to kind of give it a little distressed look anyway. So I just made sure I had a nice solid black box in front. Then I came back in with the remainder of the paint I had on my brush, and I went around the rest of the bucket. I have a vinyl cutter machine, but I've been dying to use these window clings, and I thought that one at the top would be perfect for this project. So I trimmed off the brown edge, and it fit perfectly on that black box that I had painted on the bucket. So I just made sure that it fit in between, and then I used some Mod Podge on the back of the window cling and I attached it to the bucket. The wind is crazy today, so if you hear some banging in the background, it's my signs out front. And it's just so windy today, oh my goodness. So once I had the window cling on there, I just took a little bit of black paint and feathered it around the edges, trying to get it to just blend in a little bit better. This is so easy and so inexpensive to make, and I'm so glad that I went to Kirkland's and got inspired because I absolutely love my bucket. It might not be exactly like that one, but like I said, this is just an inspiration video, and you run with it and make it your own. But I absolutely love this little bucket for Christmas. So inspiration and DIY number 3 was this little jolly ornament. And I had one of those home houses left over. I had some beads and I had some wooden letters. So I thought we could turn one of these little houses into a freestanding sign that looks like a tag. So using my drill, I drilled a hole in the top. And then I came back in with some white paint and gave this house a coat of white paint. I painted the back of the house because we all know that little tag in the front is almost impossible to remove. I had some Dollar Tree red beads that I gave a white coat of paint. And then on my wooden letters, I picked out J-O-Y to spell joy, and I painted those red. I chose red beads to match the letters, and I just wanted them to have like a frosted look. So I came back in with sandpaper and I took off some of that white paint that I had put on them. And then I grabbed some jute string, cut a very long piece of it. I folded it in half. Well, I didn't fold it in half here. I put one side through the hole that I cut, and I tied a double knot and off-centered it to the side of the house. And then I put the two pieces together, and because my beads had such a big opening, I was able to feed both pieces through the hole, which really helped and made it more secure. Once I had all my beads on my jute string, I just tied a few knots and then cut off the excess. And then it will hang off the side of the house. And I think this little house resembles a tag so much, and I was so excited with how this was coming along. I took some sandpaper and I distressed the edges, and then I took the letters that I had painted and I hot glued those to the front. And there it is, a freestanding tag sign, because I really think this resembles that tag. And it's so cute. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't wait to decorate for Christmas. But I still have 2 more weeks to go. So DIY inspired number 3. I absolutely love this Better Not Pout sign at Kirkland's. So I had one of these wooden signs, and I also had these charms that I had purchased a few years ago off eBay. They had Christmas trees and snowflakes. I got like this big bundle off of eBay. So I thought this would be the perfect size for that pout sign. I took the wooden disc and drilled another hole. I got to use the power tool again. And then I took those tree charms and I positioned them going around in a circle on that wooden disc. Now, Dollar Tree, I've heard, I haven't seen them at my Dollar Tree, but the wooden Halloween stick-em signs they had, or whatever you call it, they were like pumpkins and bats. I heard that they have the Christmas ones out. So if you don't have charms or something similar, you could always use those to do this part. I hot glued all the trees on the wooden disc, and then I painted the whole thing, including the trees, white. I had 2 different styles of the rub-on letters that you can get from Dollar Tree, so I decided to use both of the fonts. And you guys have seen me do this before. You just cut out your letters, put them on, rub it either with a tool or your finger, and then the top part lifts off and you're left with a beautiful little letter. Or if you have a Cricut or Cameo, of course that's an option, and freehanding this is also an option. But I had these, so I thought that would be perfect to use. Once I had all of those on there, I just added some jute string to where I drilled the hole and made a hanger by tying it in a couple knots, pulling it around to the back, adding some hot glue to secure it. And thanks, Holly, for the great suggestion. I used some tape over that hot glue to make sure this wasn't going anywhere. And that worked perfect to make a hanger. And I absolutely love this sign. I wish my kiddos were still little, because I think I used to say this to them all the time. I made just a regular tie bow out of some buffalo check ribbon. It is wired ribbon, so I was able to manipulate it any way I wanted. I fluffed it, I moved the tails around, and I added 2 dollops of hot glue to secure the tails to where I wanted them on the sign, because I didn't want the words covered. I think this turned out so cute. It really resembles the sign at Kirkland's, and I absolutely love the saying on it.
Now are you dear old man? Whisper what you bring to me. Tell me if you can.
For my 5th and final DIY, this little ornament was my inspiration. I had one of these hanging wood plaques from Dollar Tree and a piece ornament sign also from Dollar Tree. So I started by staining that plaque. actually started by taking the hanger off of it, and then I stained it in my chestnut. While it was still wet, I came in with my paint, and I just freehanded an oval in the center, and it kind of brought the stain in with the paint, and I thought that was super rustic country. So once I was done freehanding my little oval, I came in with some sandpaper and roughed up the edges and put some lines going all over that white part of the sign. Actually, it wasn't sandpaper, it was one of those diamond nail files, which I love to use for distressing. You can cut one up and it gives you 3 little miniature sanding discs, and it's perfect to do your distressing. And this is like so rustic country, which I love rustic country. And then once I was done getting it distressed the way I wanted it, I came back in with the Dollar Tree piece ornament, which is so cute with the little black buffalo check. I added some hot glue to the ornament and I put it down on my little sign. Now, that garland. The garland wasn't coming off, so that's why it's still on there. So I just wanted to let you guys know that because I'll be fixing that soon. I used some jute string, tied some knots, and hot glued it to secure it to the back of the sign so that I could hang this. Now the garland. Like I said, it wasn't coming off, so I just went in my stash. I grabbed some burgundy berries, and just a quick tip here, do not put hot glue on this garland. It instantly melts it, so I had to work fast. That's why you see me now putting the hot glue on the berries. If you can only have a little bit of hot glue come out of your gun, then it'll probably be better. My gun I can't. It automatically uses too much hot glue. So yeah, it drives me nuts. But I added some berries. I had some of this. I don't know what you would call it. We'll just call it greenery because I'm not quite sure. Spruce sprigs? I don't know. Anyway, I got it from Dollar General last year. So I cut some up and I added it behind the already existing little garland that came on the Dollar Tree sign. And it really made it full and look a lot nicer. And then I came back in and I found a pine cone in my stash. So I thought that if I put a bigger pine cone on there on top of the smaller one that was already there, that would make it look a lot better. And then I just added some white paint on all of it to make it look like snow and really make it pop.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin.
And there it is, so rustic country. It's beautiful. I absolutely love this sign. I'm not sure which one of these DIYs I like the most. I really can't choose. So let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. And here is another glimpse at all of them side by side, my DIY and the inspiration behind it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, ring that bell, and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me out a lot. I love y'all. I hope you're having a blessed and wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon, guys. Bye, y'all.